Hello, I am Craig Birtwistle, your candidate for Reform UK for the Worsley and Eccles South Constituency. I am here to protect you and your family and your homes by providing more police officers on our streets, which Labour and the Conservatives have failed to do in the past. Other parties have only provided 8,500 police officers in the whole of Greater Manchester. That covers 1.2 million people. This is unacceptable. Your council taxes are too high, and yet we have low police officers and high crime in Salford. They're taking you for mugs. You have to show them you'll not put up with it any longer and vote for myself and for Reform UK this coming general election. Enough is enough. We want our country back. Voting Reform will also put money in your pockets. We want to lower council taxes and we want to increase the tax threshold from £12,500 to £20,000. Your money should be in your pockets, not in the government's. Labour no longer care for the working class people. We care, I care, and I care about our people for this constituency and for our country. They do not care about plumbers, electricians. They do not care about the landscapers. These are all working class people. I am working class. I currently work at Tesco. I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a judge. I am like yourselves, working class. We have quality jobs in our constituency and we should have many more jobs available. We have the pub, we have the Worsley, we have the old hall in Worsley, which has been around for decades and also centuries before it even became a pub. We have many shops, we have many shops and many bars and restaurants. We have local parks like the one at Worsley and at Royal Green, and we also have Royal Green Tennis Club, which is a great members club. But again, it needs money yearly to maintain. Again, I'll make sure that we provide and keep on maintaining these services for our people. I would also like to bring industrial businesses back, such as the butchers, deli shops, which are currently non-existent on our high streets because either rent is too high or retail companies have crushed these industries. Again, Labour, our council at the minute, do not provide such support for these businesses. I've seen many close up and down the northwest due to either high rent or because retail companies have pushed them out. If you want more crime and a derelict high street, then carry on voting Labour and carry on voting the Conservatives because they do not care. I care. Reform UK care. And together we can make Britain better again. Have the Conservatives and Labour given what you needed in the past? No. Will Reform UK? Yes. We need to be given the opportunity to help you as the people deserve to be helped and protected. Again, if you have any questions, please contact myself, Worsley and Eccles, reform.com. And also my telephone number is 077 104 70 888. You can call me any time of the day and I will answer any questions, any issues you may have, and I will get it done. I may be a man of little words, but I am a doer. I get things done. I promise you, I will help the people of Worsley and Eccles. Thank you.
Craig, welcome to the Sutherland Report, and thank you for what you have just said for the people of Worsley and Eccles, and I'm just thanking you on their behalf. But thank you. So Craig Birtwistle, thank you for joining me, who is the prospective parliamentary candidate for Reform UK. Craig, let's get into it. So do a bit of geography so we can just explain what part of England we are talking about, what part of the UK we are talking about, because I have viewers in America. And as I often say, the whole of the UK fits into Texas 2.5 times. So they are a continent. So we are a small country compared to them. So we put this map up and I just asked people to focus on the Manchester area, which is what Craig has talked about. Craig, here is your constituency. Comments, please. How many people live in that area? So is it just northwest of Manchester?
Yes. Well, is it in my constituency, or is it the whole of Greater Manchester? You're saying?
Yeah. So it's just northwest. And what was the population? What's the population of your constituency?
So my constituency, 270,000 people.
Right. Wow. Okay. So let's get into a bit of history, because as we've discussed off air, you like history and as I like history. So we've got a really, really, really good picture, which I'll put up and I'll take us out. Craig, what is this picture depicting? What's it showing?
So the picture there is showing the Bridgewater Canal, which connected the coal. We managed to ship the coal, which generated. Well, we back for the history. It generated our industrial
revolution. It's very much part of that. So what you're saying, what the picture depicts is the fact that this is a barge on the canal, and this barge is then shipping coal from Worsley and Eccles into the central Manchester area. And yeah, just to give people an idea, is there any along that canal? I know this, I do apologize if this is suddenly a bit of a test question. Are there tunnels along there? Are there tunnels that the barges would have had to go through or go through now?
They go on the viaduct, the viaduct bridge in Eccles, and they go underneath the swing bridge as well in Eccles, and both have got issues at the moment. I've contacted the people involved in that, the Peel Holdings group. It belongs to the Manchester. They own it, but it also belongs to the Manchester Ship Canal.
What are the issues? What are the issues that you're concerned about in there? So, just quickly, sorry, in regard to the viaduct, is that still working? Are canal barges still going on that viaduct?
Yeah, they still go on it today. Obviously, you can hire a barge as well from Worsley, and you can actually go along it. but it's very sad to see now, because they've just let it go. They've not maintained it for years. And
sorry, I do apologise. When you say they've let it go and they haven't maintained it, can you define that a bit more about what you mean by letting it go?
so the steel is rotten. It needs grinding and repainting, and also the viaduct is in the same condition, or the swing bridge is in the same condition as the viaduct. Both need grinding out, repainting, and be brought back to its glory. And it's a part of our history and heritage, dating back from the 1950s.
Right. And what's happening with because I mean, that is such a wonderful picture, because I know the history where we're looking at the Industrial Revolution, we're looking at a barge transporting coal and very much coming into our past. I suppose the reason why I raised that whole thing of tunnels, and having done it a little bit myself on the 3-ring circuit, which is very much towards that way, if not part of that, is the fact that for barges to go through tunnels, they would be laying on planks on the barges, wouldn't they, and walking along the tunnel walls that were then built in this incredible industrial age and built beautifully. But they would then walk the barge through. So no, our history is so important. Craig, I want to pick you up on something that's really important, and I think this needs further explanation. And getting the figures is very difficult sometimes when we're in these kind of situations. But referring to the police, when you're saying about your constituency, which is part of the Salford area, are you saying that within Salford there's 270,000 people living, and how many police officers are serving those people?
Well, if I understand, there's only 7 police officers, and this is coming from an ex-police officer that I've spoken to. He left the police force due to family reasons, and he actually was hospitalised twice. In actual fact, there's no protection for our police force anymore. He said we need more tasers, and they don't have that. And then obviously recently, a man police officer got arrested. I don't know if you saw the news about this. It's going back a while now. But he got arrested because he shot a man who was trying to get a firearm from his car.
Right. So you are raising a very, very important concern, because what you're saying is that there aren't enough police officers to go around in regard to the population. And then if you scale that up, were you saying that within the Greater Manchester area, or was it in the Salford area, how many people did you give a figure of? What, 1.2 million? Where does that come in?
That was in Greater Manchester. So yeah, 1.2 million people live in Greater Manchester, and we only have 8,500 police officers.
Right. And again,
300 of which are special constables as well.
Does that include special constables?
It does, yeah.
Wow. So the figure that you're being given is, I think, under the Conservatives, under Theresa May, when she was Home Secretary, given the command by Cameron to then lower those figures. Without sounding negative, has the crime rate gone up in your area?
It has gone up, yeah. It has definitely gone up. I know, obviously, because there's quite a lot of people on my street where I live that have, had cars broken into, work vans have been broken into, and they've robbed the tools. And this is some of this crime is happening in broad daylight because, again, thieves know that there's a lack of police and resources in our area. and it needs to be improved. And Andy Burnham promised that we'll have more police officers, and he failed to deliver for the people, yet he gets in again.
Yes, he has got in again. Can you remember the voter turnout in regard to that?
24% of turnout this time around.
Wow. Wow.
24%.
24%. You've just talked about resources, Craig. What other resources have been withdrawn from the area? I mean, we look at the country and we look at the fact that banks, for argument's sake, have been withdrawn. Is that playing out in your area as well? What is also receding?
It is. It's massively receding. You know, like I say, Halifax has gone, Lloyds TSB has gone, Santander has gone. This just from Swinton, and then in Wharton, the Santander has gone. There's many bank closures around my area, and Labour and the Conservatives are not doing a thing about it. There's only one person that stands against bank closures, and that's Nigel Farage.
That's true. That's true. After what he went through with his bank, which I won't mention, but yeah. So of course that mean. What about postal services in your area as well? Has there been a cutback in regard to that? So, close down of sub post offices and stuff like that?
We've still got the one here in Worsley. Well, not Worsley, I should say, in Wharton, in the Worsley Industrial Estate. That's still operational, and that's still at full capacity. I know there was talk nationally that they were going to cut back on some postal services on weekends, and I think throughout the week as well, but it's not happened as yet. Whether it is going to, I don't know.
If they cut back on, what's that? Cutting back on the amount of deliveries that are done, and all this kind of thing. Is that what you mean?
Well, it's cutting back on deliveries, and it's also cutting back on postal workers as well.
Right. I suppose it's a bit like when you go in the supermarket and suddenly it's all automated tills, isn't it? Instead of a member of staff being at a till. And this raises an important point, because for a lot of people of a certain age, that if they've gone in the supermarket, that may be the only human interaction they have with someone during that day. At the beginning of when you were talking brilliantly about what you want to do and how to represent the people of Worsley and Eccles, you talked about the high street. I mean, could you go into that again with what you've witnessed and the state of the high street and how important that is to the community?
Well, it is important, because without high streets, again, people are going to be doing the shopping online, and it's the way the modern age is taken. But again, the elderly people and myself and other people are saying, no, we want our high streets. We need investment, and we need local businesses to be back on our high streets. And the only way we can do that is by bringing the rent down, and also giving small businesses and small owners the privilege of having a loan. Giving them a loan, let them set up a business like the butchers, like the deli and bakeries, and bring our high streets back to life. There's no investment there. We've got a library here in Swinton that's been closed down for years, and the building is, well, it just needs investment in it, and I'm re-energized again, because at the minute it's just crumbling. You've got a perfect building there that's just crumbling away, and we can, it could be turned into flats, or again into another library or something like that, or like a doctor's surgery, for example. we've got.
We'll come on to health needs in a minute. That's a good prompt. But when you say, how long has that library been shut down? How long has that service been denied to the local people?
Well, I've been living in the area now for 9 years, and it's been shut for at least about 6 years. It's been shut now, even more.
Right.
Well, we've got that.
Libraries and a resource to go and learn and read things, I think, is really important because it does help the whole educationally. You just mentioned doctor's surgery. What other resources like that are needed? Is there a strain on the hospitals in your area? What's the strain on the NHS?
There was a massive strain on the hospitals. We talk about apprenticeship schemes that are non-existent anymore for nurses, and we need to bring that back. Again, this current government has failed to do it. Labour failed to do it when they were in power, and we need to bring that back. We need more surgeries, and we also need more dentists as well. You go to you try and get into a dentist, you're on a 5-year waiting list. It's crazy.
Yeah. So,
and
sorry, I apologise. Go on.
Oh, you're okay. Go on. Okay.
Yeah. So does that mean that hospital resources are really under strain? Because if you've got that kind of population, you were talking in Salford, maybe Greater Manchester, is there only one hospital that's serving 1.2 million people?
We've got Salford, we've got the Manchester Royal, we've got Bolton Royal Infirmary as well, but it's just not enough for the population that we have in Greater Manchester. And I think I'll keep going on about Andy Burnham, but he promised that we were going to have more hospitals. I forgot about another great hospital as well of ours at Wythenshawe, but again we just haven't got the capacity in our hospitals for the capacity of Greater Manchester. We need more.
Right. It'd be very interesting, I think, to look at the population figures, wouldn't it? How much the population has in fact increased over the last 4, 5, 6 years. And saying that, how much? I mean, it's happening nationally. How much is immigration having an impact in the area, in practical terms?
Well, it's having an impact. It's having an impact on people's, council taxes increase. People, up and down the country, again being forced out of the houses by the councils. But they're getting letters through the council saying, "Oh, you have to leave your house. We'll give you this much money because we want to put migrants in your property." It's terrible. Yet in Europe, they're provided with tents, and it's like, why can't we do that in this country? Why have we got to house them in hotels, which comes out again of our money?
No, I hear you, and so that is providing a huge strain. So what about housing demands in your area as well?
Well, again, we're on about affordable houses, and we don't have that in our area. We've got houses here that are being built at the minute by 2 building developments, one of which is Bellway, and the other one is Countryside. And the house prices start from £300,000. It's like, who can afford that? Working class people can't afford them houses. This is what it comes down to again. They do not care about the working class person, and they're building houses on greenbelt land. It should not be happening. It should be protecting our greenbelt. Our countryside is being ruined, and we should be building on brown belt land. And if I get in, I'll be fast tracking properties to be built on brown belt land.
Again, you're describing the lack of police resources, the strain on the National Health Service within the area, the strain on the fact that where are the homes to for local people, and creating a picture there. So what would you, so there you are knocking on people's doors, having that conversation. People say, what can you do for us? And you've started to lay that out, especially at the beginning of our wonderful conversation. What industry do you think you can bring back? Is there a way of bringing industry back using the canal system for transportation, etc.? What would your vision be for helping to generate good jobs back in the area?
Well, it's a key. Transport is a key. Infrastructure is a key. Building, is what we need to do as well. We need to prioritise on all three of these areas. But it's like what can we do? What can we build? It's like we've got a perfect, Manchester Ship Canal that's still connected to the Bridgewater Canal. And why not use this resource to transport goods and trade up and down the northwest? We can do it. Why aren't we doing it? This is what I would, emphasise to our, MPs and the Mayor of Manchester and say, look, we need to do this for our economy, for our local economy. Because if we do this, our economy will grow up, and we can then lower council taxes.
How much of we talk about Brexit? What was the percentage of people in the area that actually voted out within your constituency that you're going to represent?
It was 59.8%, nearly 60% people voted to leave.
Wow. So you're virtually saying it's 100% in a way, aren't you? That is incredible. That's incredible. So do people feel that Brexit has happened? Do they feel disillusioned with that?
They feel betrayed in a lot of ways, because the government that is currently in now has failed to deliver Brexit. I voted leave, and many people voted to leave, and this government hasn't done it. And this is why we at Reform UK are here to stand, because we've had enough. We need, we've had enough of Labour. We've had enough of the Conservatives. It's just lie after lie after lie and broken promises. Enough is enough. We want our country back.
Well, you've talked about this. We've talked about the strain on resources, etc., etc. We've then talked about the immigration problem. Are people discussing, coming out of the European Court of Human Rights? Are they discussing that? Is there an understanding of that, and how much that is getting in the way of actually us sorting these issues out? What are your thoughts?
Well, we need to come out of the ECHR, the European Courts of Human Rights. We need to come out of it. If we come out of that, we won't have a barrier between us and Northern Ireland, which is what is happening at the minute. And again, with what's happening with the illegal migrants coming from France, it's diabolical. We should be able to send those boats back to France, and we cannot do it because we're in the European Court of Human Rights.
We've covered a number of different things to say this is what you want to do, quite rightly, to regenerate things, work at bringing jobs back, etc. Aspiration. What about the creative industries as well, Craig? What are your thoughts on that? What are the education facilities within the area? What colleges have you got? access to universities and everything, education wise? What is going on there?
Well, we've got Salford College, we've got Salford University, we've got Worsley College as well. That has got a hairdressing salon. That's recently new. But again, it's like what I say about the nurses, and it's like we should be having apprenticeship schemes for nurses. Get come out of this line with the degrees, and and again policing as well. We're recruiting police officers who've graduated. It's like, well, what happens to the public services? Like we studied public services at college, so they become police officers. But now they can't go down that road. They've got to now have a degree to be a police officer.
You're raising a very important point, I think, where you're saying about training people on the job. With nurses, training them on the job, with and I'm not saying that there are certain blocks where that happens, and then in the police, coming in at an earlier age and training on the job to get to know the area. So, Craig, how do you then encourage apprenticeships back into the area?
Well, we do this through colleges, and we do this through our local communities. We offer the people the chance from ages 16 up until 21 to again be seen. Go out there, get trained up, go and be a nurse, go and be a police officer. Our country, our community needs you. We'll keep you.
Absolutely. What about this whole issue of long-term unemployment and the fact that we are, in your area, you've alluded to off camera, where this whole thing of how to deal with the benefit system. What is Reform UK saying about that?
So people are obviously got job seekers allowance. Those that can work physically and able to work, if they cannot find work after 4 months, we will cut back their benefit. And I think this will work. This will work for us. We'll get people back into work, and not only this for this reason, but because we're increasing the tax threshold to £20,000 for 20% of people that are on that wage, and then obviously we're going to increase the middle bracket to 40,000, and then the higher bracket to £70,000. So you're having more money in your pockets, and these people will go, hold a minute, I'm better off in work than actually out of work, because at the minute people are actually saying, oh, I'm better off out of work because I'm getting all these benefits and I'm earning more.
Good for you. Rounding up, Craig, how important is history to you? How important is the history of our nation to you? And what would you like to see happen in regard to speaking about that history and getting that history over to the citizens of this country?
Well, it's very important to me. Obviously, people are forgetting when and where VE Day is and where it happened. It's like VE Day was the 8th of May 1945, and me and my supporters, we went out and celebrated that yesterday. But again, nobody knows about it anymore, or most people don't, because it's not on the news. You don't see the flags, and it's just terrible what's happened. I mean, our history is becoming non-existent, and there's only Reform UK that are talking about our history. It's like schools at the minute. We don't talk about our kings and queens and We don't talk about World War One and World War Two and Remembrance Day, and it's just sad. It is very sad, and we need to bring and talk about our history every day in schools.
Absolutely, I think King Alfred would be a very, very good place to start. Craig, rounding off, thank you so much for joining me. It's much appreciated. Could you just remind everyone where they could find you, where they could reach out to you again?
So you can reach out to me on Worsley and Eccles at reformuk.com, and you can also contact me on 077 104 70 888. I'm here to listen. I'm here to take advice, and also if you've got any issues, just please let me know, and I will deal with it. As I've already dealt with the issues related to Eccles with the viaduct and the swing bridge in Eccles, and also many issues in Wharton regarding the town centre, which is owned by the Derwent Group in the Isle of Man, and also the Royal Green Tennis Club as well.
Brilliant. Thank you, Craig, because at the end of the day, all of these are local issues, which is why you are standing in this constituency as a local person, and you are the person that understands that. Craig, I can't thank you enough for joining us. I'm just going to play us out. Stay with me over the other side, and then we can officially say goodbye. And thank you again. Please, when you watch this, please share it. Please get in touch with Craig if you need be. And thank you for spending this time with me. Thank you very much. Speak to you soon. No, my pleasure. My pleasure. I'm just going to play us out.